And as
Oh, and
always,
I was at the 3-day MIT AI conference last week.
The what conference?
Artificial
Oh
intelligence.
yeah.
3-day MIT AI
excellent. Okay, we are live on
That
What's it
YouTube
was
called
and
again?
the recording. And so let me just do a quick welcome folks who are watching on YouTube later. This is the MBTA's Rider Oversight Committee meeting for April 28, 2026. I'm Stefan Wunsch, the co-chair, along with Wig Zamor. Wig, want to just say hi?
Hi, everybody.
And Len,
My name is calling to you from Winter Hill, Somerville.
thank you very much. And Wig, I'm sorry to cut you off. Just the YouTube stream just started, but please do say what you were saying.
I mean, as Len was mentioning a little bit before we started, and as everybody has noticed, AI artificial intelligence has a phenomenal growth rate at this point. Noticed it. AI has, and so I thought I bought a bunch of books and then didn't read most of them, at least so far. But I went over to an MIT MTech, which is their emerging technologies program, um, is really good at holding conferences. So I went to a 3-day conference at the Media Lab at MIT last week, and was pretty interesting. The people who attended were pretty interesting. Unusual people tend to find things like that, um, and um, and the different topics and presentations and discussions were quite broad. Mostly, really good people to be with and have conversations with. Um, it's really I occasionally have been running into people who think it's not substantive and not real, but
They don't they don't know what they're
uh,
talking
but
about.
it reminds me, I majored in geology and biology in college, and it reminds me of big magma plutons that just slowly are infiltrating all of the information systems under all of the information systems on Earth. And people see the little um, volcanic erection, explosions or lava flows, but I think a lot of civilians who haven't been paying attention do not understand the scale and ubiquity of this.
Well,
So
we've been through this. I mean, I went through it about 30 years ago with the internet. I mean, it's
yeah,
very similar to that. Where you have your early adopters who are like, "This is going to change the world," and it's not even a matter of like, "Oh, I am projecting, way off into the future, and I'm being fantastical." It's sort of like you do 1 + 1 + 1, and it's like it's three.
right.
And it's just so obvious. And those who say, "Look, all you have to do is tell me one of these LLMs to write you some Python code to do something. And then it writes the code to do it.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, well, maybe another sort of a human, would have written more elegant code. But you know what? When you just need to get something done, and you don't want to fuss with writing code. You just really want to get something done so you can go on to the next thing, or so you can take that information and really use it to understand something. It's like, you know what? You did that, in seconds, and you gave the instructions on how to install it, for you can write, VBA code, for Excel, that really allows
Right.
you to manipulate data. And it's like, and it is just, not my productivity is like up. I want to say a factor of 10, but I don't want to exaggerate. And to
Right.
be honest, I'm not sure if I'm exaggerating or not doing it justice, because there are two elements to it. One is that I can do things faster, but also I just have the energy. It's like it does all the grunt work for me. I have like the energy, to think of
Uh,
these other things that I want to do and to use the information, and so I'm just, yeah,
Since I apologize for cutting you off, but since we only have Wig for a
yeah.
little amount of time,
can I
I
just
actually
say
want to
one more?
pivot.
Can I just say one more thing
Yeah,
about it?
I've actually got
Sure.
something
Um,
that's relevant to that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just as Len has said, I have a friend who's a serial entrepreneur working on some cutting edge biology startup, just little, really little stuff. But what I've heard repeatedly is that, if you give it a task, it may tend to hallucinate a little bit in the beginning, or if it's just chewing into a new data set, but that it really rapidly gets more mature and sophisticated.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I guess it all depends on how you define hallucination, for one.
Yeah,
Because coming to the wrong conclusion is not the same as hallucinating.
yeah,
Hallucinating is just making up data or making up things from scratch.
yeah,
And really, and to the extent you don't get a good conclusion, a right conclusion, I found it in my case to be a function of not asking
yeah,
it the right way,
yeah,
and so and then and the real challenge, with all of it, and it is with anything, is that it is a resource, and there are going to be limitations to the resource. Either the amount of memory that it can devote to, a thread, for lack of a better term, or even but how much you're willing to pay, for access to it. And so now the challenge becomes like, how do you manage the resources? And that's always a challenge, but it's always a challenge, but it's now how do you do it in that realm, in order to maximize your efficiency and your effectiveness, and it's just it's the next stage, of a technology, and how to use it to be more
yeah,
productive and effective.
yep,
I'm gonna pull in something that's right up Wig's alley and ties also into what you were just saying. I don't know if you had seen this before. This was something from earlier in the month.
yep,
Um, I'm not gonna make you read the whole article, but I'm gonna give you the gist of it, which is using pretty much as they say in Manhattan, images from 331 cameras already in use in Manhattan intersections, along with anonymized location records from millions of cell phones.
yep,
And here's the interesting thing that ties in, I believe, to AI, is they are doing anonymized analysis of the kinds of vehicles and knowing where a certain vehicle and the patterns are emerging,
yep,
they're tying that to emissions, and therefore they'll have data about how policies like congestion pricing can directly affect emissions, like
yep.
tailpipe emissions.
Right.
And when I read this, I thought immediately of, oh, this could also be something that if we could ever do this in the Boston area, in the MBTA service area, I don't know if we have that kind of camera infrastructure or what's necessary, but wouldn't it be amazing to be able to, in a real world sense, measure tailpipe emissions in response to, for example, MBTA fare policy changes, or if there's any expansion of free bus fares on
Yep,
certain routes. So
yep.
I'll put the link to this
No,
in the Zoom
I've
chat.
got
But
it.
yep,
I have copied it down, but I don't. I've got it on my computer. I just haven't had time to read it.
no
Um,
problem. I just wanted to
and
call it
and
out as like a really interesting thing that, I mean, maybe we can get this in Boston at some point.
yeah,
It's
no,
sort of like a
I think
crossroads of.
I think there's no question about it. MIT did some of this groundwork on this stuff 10 to 15 years ago. Um, and other interesting academic program directly applied to this is that, in my mind, Bowdoin College. Somebody gave them an early $50 million grant, and so they've
Ah,
got pretty good leg up on a broad array of AI um, applications for college students and communities and stuff like that. There is one concerning thing, though, to me, which is that the companies are largely West Coast,
oh,
especially California.
What's wrong with that? What's the problem? What's the concern
Well,
with that?
I think that we rely on the connections between our academic leaders and the larger participants in the economy to advance and stay connected with sectors of the economy.
I'm sorry. We rely on who again?
Well, we rely on the strength of the connections and pipelines between the top the academics in general, including higher education and the new technologies. And this was an issue with with computers, right? There were quite a few startups in the Northeast, including DEC, Digital Equipment, a terrific company. Some of the workstation companies, but by and large, the chip manufacturers and the leading edge of the software has been West Coast,
Huh.
at least scale wise.
Right. So, well, anyways, so if you want to read through the top part of the letter, it's just 4 paragraphs, being really just three
Oh yeah,
paragraphs.
yeah. Let's do that right now before
Yeah.
before Wig has to go to the other meeting.
Yeah, that
Pulling
sounds
that up
great.
right now.
I don't have a hard, I can take a few
Oh,
extra
okay.
minutes.
Well,
Won't
that'd be great.
matter.
Okay, I am pulling
But
it up right
that'd be
now.
terrific. And thank you, Lynn.
Sure. And there's some interesting plans. Yeah. And the guy, in charge, or one of the people connected to the CIP, was at today's, MBTA advisory board meeting. So he presented on the CIP. And, Brian asked him, like, what are some of these expansion things that you're planning on doing? And one of them was definitely to study the red blue line connector. And he said that was mandated. So I guess there was some legislation, that mandated that, which is good, because I think because as I think of the PMT Focus 50, I'm going to strongly suggest that let's think to 50, but even think beyond 50. And so red to blue connector, meaning sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, sometime in the next 10 to, let's say, the next 15 to 25 years, let's get the either the green line to West Medford or the blue line to Lynn, one of those two. And then, in the next, 20 to 30 years, then do the other one, and then in the next 30 to 40 years, assuming that we have density to justify it, we can extend the red line, to Lexington, but Arlington and Lexington are just going to have to make it clear that it's worth the while to do this,
Yeah. And my favorite is always to take the blue line and turn it into a ring that grabs one of the old green line branches to Longwood Medical, and then comes right down Grand Junction, connecting the largest medical research community in the country, which is Longwood,
yeah.
and the largest technical university in the country, which is MIT.
Yeah.
That's really the home run. And because the urban ring crosses the Mystic and then wraps in Everett and Chelsea and goes back to East Boston, that I think is the real home run from both an equity point of view and an economic point of view, and also an environmental point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think that we would handle the crossings, like over Broadway, Mass Ave,
Yeah.
Medford
Yeah,
Street?
I don't think they're that difficult. Because I have to go to environmental health conferences around the world. I've been to a lot of countries that have, in some cases, brand new technology doing things like this, and in some cases, old technology doing things like this. I think of Basel, Switzerland. a quite small city, part of which is in Germany, most of which are, the base of which is in Switzerland, and they have, rapid connections, very functional connections to in every direction, to Rome, to Germany, to Austria, to France, and yet they have, I think, probably the oldest, well, one of the oldest surface light rail trolley systems in the world.
So
You
like,
know, well,
so what's the density of the crossings? Because I mean, I think it's one thing to do something in a relatively small city and one to do something, in a fairly large one. And maybe, the direction of difficulty is inverse of what I'm thinking, but, so, because I know like with the commuter rail, I mean, it seems like me from the CIP, the T is trying to get rid of, I mean, it's many of those, I forget what the term is, I mean, but where you have, train meet road,
Grade crossings,
grade
level
crossing.
crossing.
Yeah, level crossings,
Yeah, or
uh,
at grade crossing.
yeah, or at least me spending a lot to be make them better, so
there's a couple ways to do it. I do, you have named a couple of the key crossings, and those are real, but uh, there's how Basel does it is the trains in town that stop frequently are like the old trolleys in Green Line here, and they're not going that fast, and there's pretty much no problem with the intersection with pedestrians and bikes. But they also have two high-speed European rail stations, which are the ones really that those are the facilities that take you to those bigger cities that are further away and not local. So they just have handled it with not scaling up the really old, slower, more pedestrian-friendly systems that have frequent stops, and then working on the connections to the higher speed
Mhm.
new electrified rail.
Yeah. But I can also add to that, Len. I mean, specifically with regard to grade crossing eliminations, it would if it was rapid transit or light rail, the the way that you deal with intersections through Cambridge. We're talking about Grand Junction, right?
yeah.
Like yeah, so like North Station to South Station across the Charles through Cambridge behind MIT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If
all the freight uses, well, all the
yeah.
locomotives going
Oh
to
yeah,
the
yeah. But if I
engine
mean
terminal, and all the freight goes on Grand Junction.
yes, yes, but that's pretty infrequent. If you wanted to have transit service, that being electrified, you'd be able to have a steeper elevation to go overhead, and it would really
Yeah.
just be like the extension of the Green Line from
Yep.
Science Park, a viaduct, or
Yeah.
the even more applicable from the end of the old viaduct to the new Leechmere
Yep.
to wherever it comes down. I think that's right after the BET interchange area, right? So
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you
yeah,
would
so
Yeah.
picture
elevate.
Uh,
so picture in your mind what you see when you're next to the new Leechmere station.
Yeah.
That's the kind of design that would handle transit crossings in the Cambridge area just fine. It would be
yeah.
up and over, but like I said, you really can only do that if you've got electrified multi-unit because those are the ones that can do like a
Yeah.
2%, 3%, 4% grade going up.
Right.
You just can't do that with conventional one locomotive pulling a lot of cars. They're really going to max out at about a 1.5% grade.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough distance on the Grand Junction to think about trying to get up
Yeah. And
with
and
only a
that's exa
1.5% grade.
and East Somerville Station is the next one after Leechmere, and it's at grade.
Yes. Yes. But if the will was there, it could be done to keep Grand Junction for the equipment shuttles and the occasional freight train at
Yeah.
grade because it's really, really infrequent. But you could do transit service up above. How you get around the MIT building that's over the tracks, that might be a tough one. But I think everywhere else, there's nothing taking up the air rights above Grand Junction, except for that one building at MIT. It's like what, Vassar Street and
Yeah, I know
Broadway,
what
I
you're
think.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
everything else
What's in
is
that building? Wig?
Austin. I don't know.
I should know, but I don't.
Oh, all
The
right.
other thing is, that's a really wide corridor, right?
Yeah, it used
For
to be double
most of
track.
most of it. That's why the circus trains always just parked there on one of the rails for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Uh,
All right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, here's our opportunity to push for those things. It'll be interesting to see.
and the
Yeah.
one other thing I think I might have mentioned, but I've forgotten if I did or not. The soccer stadium is a real opportunity to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Because that stadium will be used much more than Patriots Stadium. It'll be used for college championships of all sorts. It'll be used for women's soccer as well as men's. Hopefully, it is the right size stadium to really fit into an urban fabric.
Yep. And it really would need more public rail transit if it's ever going to work well in
Yeah,
that location, which,
yeah. Walking from
yeah,
Sullivan is. Yeah, I can just see the 200 wheelchair attendees.
yeah. But sorry, but before we lose the opportunity to review the letter, um,
Yeah,
did you have a chance to look at it in the email that Len sent out earlier, or do you want to look at what's up on the screen?
yeah.
I
Let
mean,
me
it's
look at what's
entirely up
up
to
on
you.
this.
I just want to make sure that you have the opportunity to weigh in on this before
Yeah,
you got
let
to
me
go.
look at what's up on the screen. Thank
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
Can you make it a touch bigger?
Of course.
That's perfect. Thank you. Got great tone. Not surprising.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it looks excellent to me.
All right. Well, think about it. You have it in the mail, and I would say by the end of the week. If I haven't heard, if I don't have any recommendations for changing in wording, I'll send it to James and ask him to post it on the
Great.
website. If there are any little changes, I'll say, with the exception of some minor changes, this is essentially what was sent to the MBTA. As a
Yeah.
comment letter on the CPA,
I
That's
CIP.
I
great.
I have I have no changes to add because I already went through it. And thank you for doing this, Len.
Sure, sure.
Um,
Yep.
I don't think there's any need to try to arrange the project in any kind of an order because, as you said, these are just some of, this is the list of notable projects.
Yeah, and they're the
Not
early stage.
everything, but these are
They're,
the ones
yeah,
for us. Yeah.
the early stage projects. So it's trying to see what they're really planning on doing. And I'll tell you, they were just kind of mixed in. And you know how it is. If I was trying to like read the CIP to pull these all out and then cut and paste into a spreadsheet, I would just like quickly run out of energy and time.
Yeah.
But really energy. Because if you get once you're done, doing this manually, it's sort of like okay, you like need some food or something, and that just kind of changes your whole psychology. But to have it like crank this out for me, in a couple minutes, the list, and then I just kind of sort on it in a little bit because it's already kind of asked to give me like the planning, and the early design. I forget the terms because they had like a column for it, and I said like from that column, give me the projects that match up to this, and it's just like
Yep.
bam,
The
done.
other thing I forgot to mention is Harvard's Central Campus, which I think you both know it's projected to be the largest of the three campuses when it's fully built out. So larger than Harvard Square, larger than Longwood.
Well, what are they
That's
building there?
the Alston, right?
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
talking about which campus are you talking about? Are they
well,
building one in
next to
Cambridge?
the business, yeah, next to the business school, that
Yeah.
campus is expanding rapidly,
Oh, that
and the
one,
long-term plan. You guys probably attended some of the meetings. Fred Salvucci has been a transportation consultant all along.
Yep.
But the plan has always been that that will be the biggest campus eventually.
what are they going to build there? I mean, I know they were building a STEM center.
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah,
yes.
not STEM.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is STEM? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
You know.
so yeah, that's exactly right. And you need a lot more space for STEM than you do for liberal arts.
All right. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I knew
I
that. I mean,
forget how
they were
many
planning
acres.
on doing it for a while, and I think like the economic crisis of 2008, we kind of threw a spanner in the works on that, you know, and
Yeah.
I kind of lost track of it after that. But they did eventually build something, right? In
Oh yeah,
Austin.
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
got four or five buildings
yeah,
of different scales.
yeah. But
Um,
the focus right now is all along Western Avenue, which is basically immediately next to the business school, and then
yeah.
a couple of buildings down near the junction of North Harvard, which is a key
Yeah,
intersection. But
right.
yeah,
pretty much
and
everything that's like the next phase is going to be closer to where the turnpike ramps are. And if I'm not mistaken, the Turnpike Authority, MassDOT, whatever you want to call it, has to straighten the curve of where the toll booths used to be, so that
yeah,
it goes
that's
more through the old
correct.
rail yard or above the old rail yard.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think they're making a mistake. They want to put the pedestrians and bikes up in the air. I think they should be at grade, but um, the campus itself has um, has some, kind of jewel box buildings. The tree building is really notable.
Yep.
Um, but but the main concern was the separation of science um, between the law school and the undergraduate campus, Harvard Yard campus, was a disaster. Separating that
Oh,
from the medical school and all the medical research is extraordinary disaster academically.
oh,
They've been having shuttle buses. They take 30 or 45 minutes in congested times. Absolutely a game breaker if Harvard wants to stay
oh.
competitive with integrated universities.
Wow, I didn't know it's that bad.
I
All
wasn't
right.
aware.
Yeah, having yeah, I mean, having done like biology there in the biolabs, I mean, in
Yeah,
MCC,
but
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 yeah,
are you kind of hopping between all three campuses?
no,
Yeah, so
no,
that's
uh,
the issue for them
uh, uh,
is
Hmm.
they had been using shuttle buses to get, because they built the early stuff, they'd been using shuttle buses to get the undergrads across the river and back.
yeah,
And, sometimes they work pretty, Harvard is pretty efficient at trying to do these kinds of things. But they had to expand the time in between all of the classes
mm.
on both campuses to do that.
Oh,
So
oh,
they're losing stuff. Anyway,
well,
anyway, I gotta take off. Thank you,
yeah,
guys. Thanks for your letter, Len, and
yeah, you're welcome. Take care. See you
thank
around.
thanks thanks for helping with
Yeah.
everything,
Okay, take care.
Stefan.
Yep. Thanks,
Okay.
Luke.
Yep. Take
Yep.
care.
We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Um, Excellent. I'm glad we got to review the letter while he was here.
Yeah, I'll send it over to James. Yeah, and the next thing is to give some thought about what to when to invite Darren and what to talk to him about. And so I'm still
Yep.
very strongly thinking that we should have him at the combined subcommittee meeting as opposed to one of
Oh, I agree.
these. You know,
Oh,
I mean, so
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I thought, yeah, we talked about that last time, and I
yeah,
completely agree. And
okay.
if May, if the second I don't have my calendar in front of me.
The second
Second
Tuesday, yeah,
Tuesday, 12th.
is
Yeah.
it 12th?
Yep. Yeah. If May 12th works for Darren, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, or if not, we'll go for June. And I was thinking, maybe, you know, rebooting or transforming, the rock from just oversight into one that does oversight and collaboration.
Yes.
And that's where I keep saying like research topic for the rock, but it'd be like research topics being that the um the T would like for us to do, or projects that they would like for us to do, and one that might, you know that we might be able to work on. Wouldn't necessarily come from the MBTA, but might come from the MPO, which is
Oh,
trying. Um, I'm going to be meeting with someone, because the MPO has this transit working group. And at a recent meeting, the um, MassDOT presented to the MPO all of these new trans-related projects, meaning that it had funded, and there is a issue that senior transportation planner in Lexington cared about a lot. We all care about it, but she was really passionate about it, and that is how a lot of the transit, especially some of these smaller transit programs, just aren't connected. So it can be hard
yeah.
for a person, especially in less dense areas, to go from point A to point B. Using the services, because either the services will only go so far because that's the limit of their jurisdictions, or people aren't aware of them, or people can't easily transfer the one to another because of policy issues. And an example, and I may not be explaining this well, so take it with a grain of salt. But if a service is only available to vets, and it gets that person only so far, but then the next service, me, me, I can't say it's not available to vets, but maybe the cost is different or something. Whatever it is, it's just prohibitive, for a
Yeah.
vet to
Different
go.
priorities. Yeah. I see
Yeah,
your point. Yeah.
right. And so first off, could we somehow like consolidate the services? And to me, that's a harder issue to deal with, because I think I understand why things are funded the way they're funded. And so essentially you're going to say, well, you're funded for vets, but if you don't have if you have capacity, then can you take someone else? And on one, I understand the logic of that, but a lot of times people, like, they're kind of protective of their capacity, because it's like, well, you're asking me, to potentially tell someone who should get this service that they can't get it because I booked it out, or I'll have to just keep some spare capacity. But now someone who is asking me to use a service is seeing that it's not being used, and now feels they have been um, um, dissed, for lack of a better word, because
Yep.
you didn't use that capacity, but I'm keeping that capacity reserved because I have this higher priority client based on who's funding it. So I can kind of see the issues with it, but with all those limitations, though, there still is probably more ways, to get people from point A to point B, and more efficient ways to get them from point A to point B. And we just need to understand all the services that are there, and connect them, in a network that everyone has access to.
Mhm.
You know, because right now I think the issue is that they're just not even connected, in a network. And by network, I mean a computer network. So that you can kind
Sure.
of like
Oh, yeah.
see, so you can see the connections, and then try to navigate your way through just as a human. And I think if you throw some AI at this, it becomes even more easy to see
Yeah.
the possibilities, and then can maybe even help you determine how to plug up those holes.
Yeah. Just
So go ahead.
so that I understand frame this in my head in the right
Sure.
way. Um, it doesn't sound like you're talking about RTAs, but it sounds to me like you're talking about small municipally run like shuttle transports, like the city of XYZ runs a shuttle for seniors,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that funding might be entirely from that one municipality.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
accurate? Okay.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
accurate.
because
Yeah.
but it does raise a bigger question in my mind, which is, um, what do we know about the interchanges between RTAs? Are there any metrics, or is there any like quality of interchange service metrics out there? Or like, is there anything required? If you're an RTA, are you required to publish metrics of, oh yeah, my RTA interfaces well for connection trips through this other RTA? I mean, I don't think we've ever talked about something like that before. And I mean, it might not be an issue. There might not be enough inter RTA travel to even warrant thinking about it, but I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, no, no. I can't say that I've seen that data presented, and certainly if it had, I would have remembered, being
Mhm.
presented the data, even if I didn't remember the data itself.
Yeah.
So the two RTAs that are part of the MPO, is Metro West RTA,
Mhm.
and CATA, Cape Ann, Transit Authority, and
Oh,
so
it's
I
only
can't.
two.
It's only two.
Oh, the only
Well,
two RTAs in the Boston MPO.
in the Boston over here, yeah.
Oh,
There's a third one,
I
that kind
completely
of
forgot.
is kind of next to it. In the southern, part of the region. I forget the name of it. And it may touch on one or two, or maybe a handful of municipalities, in the Boston region MPO. But I think it's based, outside. I think it's like GATA or something. G something. You know. Anyways, so yeah, there are only two. There are only two. So one that serves like
Okay.
Framingham. I forget where else. MWRA goes. And another one is Cape Ann, which serves like Gloucester,
Yeah.
Rockport.
Yep.
I'm not sure
Cape
what else.
Ann and
I think the
like
other one is Gatra.
I pulled
It's
up the
Gatra.
list. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
Gatra.
Greater Attleboro Taunton region.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the rest, yeah, it's not Merrimack Valley. It's not Montechusett, Pioneer. No,
So yeah, just listen, like I said,
Worcester.
Gatra. And
Interesting.
I think if Gatra only serves Attleboro and Taunton, I don't think Attleboro is part of the Boston Region MPO,
Okay.
but it might be the one that is. And then and Taunton definitely is not. Um, so might be an opportunity there. We'll see. But then we can come up with other opportunities. Ourselves. But I think if we aim more for doing research and more collaboration stuff, we might grab people who are just interested in that kind of um,
Oh,
engagement.
good. Look what I just found. I should have gone looking for this the first time. Ta-da. I'll make it bigger. Hang on. I'll make it even bigger. There. There we go. So, MBTA borders on, yep, Cape Ann, and you said Metro West,
Yeah,
MWRTA,
yeah.
and that would mean that it's actually sort of a split between Gatra and the Brockton borders on MBTA. I forgot about that. Hmm.
What is Brockton RTA called?
Just called Brockton Area Transit.
Okay.
But do you think it was Gatra that's in the?
Well,
Well,
I thought the Gatch was the one that kind of touched the MPO region.
oh, it does.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it does. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the Gatra actually touches in the MBTA service area, like one, two. I guess it's only two places. It looks like there's a little. Yeah. I don't want to split hairs. Well, I have a funny feeling that somebody we know will correct us at the next joint subcommittees meeting.
Yeah.
Actually, let me put this link into the Zoom chat in case you want to pull this up.
Uh,
The Googles found it, of course, so it's nothing. It's nothing special.
oh, excuse me. Stayed up
Yeah.
with.
Well, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I, I bet we also know somebody who could tell us about data that shows the relative ease of RTA interconnections, or even like what are the rates of inter RTA
That's
trips.
true. That's true. Yeah.
I
So
I bet it's unfortunate. I bet it's pretty low. I I I don't want to say it is, but I bet there's not a lot of people taking RTAs to go from Cape Ann to Springfield.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I guess the question is, can you how easily can you get from let's say, any place in Gloucester,
Yeah.
to any place in Salem, pretty quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But also, I really like your idea of thinking about the smaller municipal service interconnections, because yeah, what you said before absolutely rings true. Yeah. If you've got if you've got a tiny amount of local funding, you're probably not going to be able to put a lot of thought and effort. I mean, as much as you might want to, putting myself in the shoes of a transit planner for a municipality small shuttle service for elderly or disabled or veterans or what have you, or all of the above. Yeah, trying to think of interconnects to from one town or city to the next town or city. Yeah, that's going to be tough
Right.
to
Right.
allocate
Especially.
the amount of,
Yeah. Go ahead.
cost and person hours to be able to do that.
Right, right, right. So I think right now, what they're trying to do is take care of people's needs.
Yep.
So how do they get to hospitals and get groceries and things like that? Using these various transit services. But I'd like to see us push it, further. And go, okay, well, we're we're trying to meet their needs, but how do people really want to use it?
Right.
It's like, let's say, or there are social things that they would do, if there was more transit, yeah, let's find out what else they might want to do, on a social level,
Yeah.
and try to meet that want, because that's where the real living is. It's like survival isn't taking care of your needs. But living, isn't taking care of your wants. And so I think we need to really aspire, to, take care of what people want to do so that they can, kind of grow and thrive and not simply,
Right.
and
Right. Geez,
survive.
I'm I'm having a complete brain fart. Um, God, I just don't. All of a sudden, I don't remember the MBTA service. Okay, you tell me if I am completely full of you know what. The MBTA service area is what defines the ride service, right? I
Yeah,
mean, MBTA paratransit ride.
yeah,
That's that.
yeah.
Is there a similar sort of thing for the RTAs?
No,
No.
no.
But a lot of the RTAs have fixed route service.
Yes.
So the RTAs do or do not provide like an additional service area akin to the ride that's a little bit beyond their regular fixed route. I mean, is there a parallel there? Does an RTA have a fixed route and then a bit beyond it akin to MBTA fixed route and the ride a bit beyond it? I should know this,
As far
but I
as I
don't.
know, no.
Okay.
I guess I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah,
I should know that.
yeah, yeah.
It
What
would
my
it
but
it strikes me as being like a logical thing, but it might just not be part of the charter of an RTA
Right.
to do a paratransit. What would you call that? Like a paratransit, not
Well,
overlay, like a
well, yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, essentially, what
expanded region.
that's kind of like what paratransit is, all right? It's like an overlay on the transit system,
Yeah, but
I mean, so
inherently
do
it's a
they?
larger. Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry. I don't want to spend. I don't want to
Um,
waste your time on things that I don't know that I should know.
well, that's a good question. I mean, I initially said I don't think so. I hadn't heard of it. But it may be, that it is just integrated into the paratransit network, means so that, so if you, yeah, for some reason I just think no. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah. We should
Um,
maybe try to talk to Melissa sometime. I think she still does work with the ride in paratransit to find out what's
I
going
think
on.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, quick question about recent events and recent presentations before
Hardly anything.
I completely forget. Yeah, exactly. I was just noticing um, both of the board subcommittees were canceled in April, so I believe I saw that um, next MBTA board is, I think, 2 days from today,
Right.
but nothing that we haven't already covered.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, I did kind of dive into the um, budget, one a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I guess, yeah, I'm understanding a little bit better. I mean, what's going on with the state impact, on the T's budget.
Okay.
And so we're seeing, like, if you go to slide towards the top, so
This is from the budget and finance that
yeah,
was April 9.
yeah,
Excuse me, audit and finance. Yeah.
yeah, audit finance, So if you go to either slide, oh, they don't have them numbered.
It's 6 o'clock.
Oh, thank you,
Uh,
computer.
uh,
By the way, does that computer voice come through Zoom?
yeah, I just heard it. It's
You
six
heard
o'clock.
my
Yeah,
computer say it's 6 o'clock.
yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
did. Yeah,
My
actually,
microphone is too good to not bring up to not get the computer
yeah.
voice.
And I take it, I was wrong. I mean, the slides are numbered. I mean, they're just kind of
Okay.
small and on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Kind of
I got it
used
up.
to them. So if you go to slide number 2 or slide number 3, I guess let's go to slide number 3.
Okay.
And so apparently the state assistance, if you look at that line, it's 235 versus the expected 344. But apparently
Yeah.
they based the expectation on the governor's proposal, and not on what the legislature provided. So I guess the deal is that by the time they were making the budget, they had to go with something,
Okay.
because I guess this budget, is due before the state, wraps up its budget work, because I guess the state was pretty much on time last year, which was the first time in a while,
Okay.
but still, I mean, that's the end of June. And the T needs to have this budget, ready by the end of June too. But all the preparation, of course, is going on now. And so they had to go with something, and I think they went with the governor's proposal. I guess maybe because the state had been matching the governor's proposal, and I guess the state didn't. And so it isn't so much like the state is taking money back, or is not adhering to what it said it was going to give the MBTA. It's more that the MBTA overestimated what it was going to get by using the governor's numbers, which to me, it puts it in a whole different realm. And I was kind of like wondering what's going on with the state. Why is they pulling money back? I mean, that they committed to the T. I mean, and that seemed like it was. Well, I mean, it's not so much that it's wrong. I mean, the state can do that, but I mean, it just didn't seem like something I would expect the legislature to do. But they just didn't give the T as much as the governor asked, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And so so yeah, I was kind of I was happy to see that to a certain extent. Yeah, that explained something to me that was a little disconcerting. So maybe you can help me with with this. So on the next slide, the first bullet is ridership through the first half of fiscal year 26 average 74% of pre-pandemic demo
Oh,
levels.
sorry, which page number?
Number 4.
Oh, four.
I
Okay.
think one right after this.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Um, so, and then it says in November 2025, fare revenue and ridership actual results represent the highest recorded since fiscal year 19. Now, fiscal year 19 would have been July 18
Yep.
to, so that's all pre-pandemic.
Right.
And they're saying that
Oh, I see where you're going.
so they're saying that's higher. So the rates are higher than have been recorded since then. I mean,
Oh,
this,
holy cow. Yeah.
yeah,
But
you know,
but
so
the okay, but look at that, look at the third major bullet point, the key growth factors.
yeah.
Okay. But track improvements would be related to the ridership, not to fare revenue recovery, right?
Well, the improved fare collection, that would give you fare. So I could see the fare from the improved fare collection. Okay, I could give them
Yeah,
that.
right.
But the ridership, I don't get. Me, given that you're saying in the first bullet, that it's at
Oh,
76%.
but I just realized something though.
Yeah,
The first bullet point is saying ridership only. The
yeah.
second bullet point, November 2025, fare revenue and ridership. So they're combining. Yeah,
Yeah,
that now that confuses me
yeah.
because how, okay, fare revenue and ridership. Are
They
they
didn't say
saying that
combined.
that's
They didn't.
combined into one
Yeah,
unit, or they're saying
yeah. That's
fare
not.
revenue is the highest recorded and ridership is actually is, it's like a trailing what's that
Yeah,
called? A trailing participle, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But you've got a point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just.
okay, seems to me like the well, we haven't had a fare increase since way before the pandemic, right?
Yeah, I would have fair increase.
Yeah.
And like I
It's
said,
like not 10 years, is it?
yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. We probably closed in on 10 years.
Let me
And
see if the Googles will tell me right now. The last MBTA fare increase took place July 1st, 2019.
okay,
So that would be the end of fiscal 2019. Sorry, yeah, right? July 1st, 2019 would be the end of FY 19.
right. It'd be the beginning of fiscal year 20.
So,
Right.
okay, so then that does make sense. So the last fare increase started right as fiscal 19 was ending. Therefore, it does make sense that even though we're only at 70, well, let's say three-quarters of the return to ridership, I can see how improved fare collection and the fare increase that went into effect at the end of the last period that they're citing as the previous highest recorded ridership. That makes sense?
No, no,
Okay.
because they're saying since fiscal year 19,
Yeah,
and
but
so the
but
fare
if
increase went into effect at the beginning of fiscal year 20.
right.
So that makes the bar even higher for them to
Oh yeah,
cross.
except that we were what 8 months into fiscal year 20 when we had the pandemic. So that first 8 months would not have been a big contributing factor to growth, right?
That's true.
Or like, yeah. So I think it actually makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. The the number cited here in the slide says highest recorded fare revenue and or ridership. Either way, I can see it
Yeah, okay.
because that was the end of the fiscal year they're using as the previous highest recorded. Then we had the fare increase July 1st, 2019. Then we had the pandemic. Everything went to hell. And now we're crawling our way back on ridership. But we've already got fare revenue that's highest recorded since before the last highest, which was before the, yeah, because the last highest was before the most recent fare increase. I
Yeah.
think it makes sense.
Well, I see where you go. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Although looking at the graph that they give us there, though, right?
Yep.
So the graph is pretty much starting at the fiscal year 20, right? That's July 20.
Yes.
So even with their graph, oh, so you're saying for a whole year combined, and not just that. Yeah. Okay, I can see
Yeah.
your point. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Yeah. And this, actually, I'm surprised that the plummet in this graph, the plummet is in June of 2020. I thought it was more in April or May. Well, okay, that's their baseline. That's fine. That's fine. Because it's a percentage. They're this graph is saying that 100% is at a certain point in time.
Actually,
And
that
fine.
that
Okay.
that J actually, the first J is January 20. The A is April. The next J is
What?
July. So that captures that plummet that you were wondering about. I at first thought it was
What?
July, but now when I look more closely, because they're like,
All right. Oh, you're right. Because
yeah,
it's not J, it's not July, August. It's not an S. Oh, geez.
yeah.
Oh, you're completely right.
So it's
Oh my
quarterly.
gosh. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Well, no, you're
Yes,
not.
that's on record. Yep. That's on, I don't mind saying it.
No, no,
So
no. Well, I made the same
J,
assumption too. So I locked that to July 20, and then when you said the plummet was earlier in the year, I looked more closely and see. Oh no, that's quarterly. So that is January to
what?
January, April, July, October.
Yes, you got
Yeah,
it. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
January, April, July, October. The beginning. Right. The first month of each quarter.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. You're right.
Yeah. Well,
January,
it's still
April,
confusing,
July,
but
October. Oh, I'm
it is
glad
what
you
it
caught
is.
me on that. Thank you.
No problem.
Yep. So there you go. So the plummet is indeed in the first quarter of 2020, right? And like a
Right.
month or two in. Yep. Yep.
And that
Yep. Yep.
would
It all makes
that
sense.
and that would be like the second half of fiscal year 19, right? No, no, I'm wrong about that. No, no,
No,
I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
that's
I'm wrong.
yeah,
That's wrong.
first half of 20. Yeah.
Yeah, it's to be
Yeah.
the second
Fiscal
half.
year ending
Yeah,
in
it'd be the second half of fiscal year 20. So
yes.
January, July is the second half of fiscal year 20. So you only got so fiscal year 20 was pretty much a bust. Half of it
Yep.
was a bust. And
Yep.
the first half was tooling along fine, and then so well, in a pandemic, they'll stop everything in its tracks. Um, so I
Yeah,
guess then,
speaking of
uh,
tracks, it's interesting to see that the 2024 uh what is that? That's the winter time of 2023 to 2024. The track improvement program completed. Interesting that there was a drop. Oh, right, of course, because that was the big push to get the track improvement program completed, and so there were some reductions in ridership,
oh yeah, yeah, I
plus
see.
the seasonal thing of being in the middle of the winter, right,
Right,
for
right,
holidays. Yeah, so
right,
that's the drop to the 58%.
right.
Yeah, yeah, no real surprise there.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Well,
Man, that is a hell
yes.
of a graph. That is I'm glad you called this out because I did not spend enough time looking at this previously.
And I just figured I was misunderstanding something as opposed to them being wrong because it's like, I'm generally not going to assume that any of these graphs are wrong because they just spent. I'm sure they have a lot of eyes on them. They're presenting these to the board,
Yep.
and so more than one person's looked at them, and people
Oh
at
yeah.
T are pretty smart. So it's like, what am I missing here? What am I not getting? And I'm not one of these people who say also like when something's not clear, well, you should make it clear. It's like, you know what, I can get confused in any number of ways, and you're not going to be able to anticipate them all. So
Me too.
it's like, yeah,
Yes,
I'll,
sirree.
I'll figure out how you're presenting it and how you're saying things, and I can adapt. And there's no accounting for like when I haven't had enough sleep, or
Right.
I've eaten too much, or I got a lot of things going on. I'm not grokking, as they say, and
Exactly.
I'm going back to, I think it's Clockwork Orange. That was what Glock, as opposed to the X, so
Oh, I don't remember.
you didn't read
I don't
Clockwork Orange?
no, I only saw the movie. I didn't read it.
I see.
But
Yeah,
I didn't remember that grok as a term came from that.
I
But
thought
I
it came
believe you.
from that. I came from.
I believe you.
I think it did.
Oh,
Let
and
me
just
just.
to reiterate what you said a moment ago in my best worst Boston accent. Oh yeah, man. The people at the T are wicked smart.
Yeah. Yep. And either the smartest ones either go to work for CTPS or they come from CTPS.
And I know he knows who we're talking about. And he's probably grinning as he watches this part of the recording.
Um, so I mean, it's just kind of like all I have. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just stayed
That's
up too late.
okay.
I was trying to get a YouTube channel up and going,
Not a
and
problem.
yeah, and so I succeeded, but just ended up staying up late as I was trying to figure out. It's been a while since I've done it. I've forgotten that. After you load 10 videos, then Google wants you to go through this verification process,
Ah,
and yeah, I had to like deal with that and lost a little
okay.
bit momentum that I wanted to. Anyways, ended up just getting wired and staying up.
No problem. Um, I've only got one like operational thing that I wasn't able to find the answer before this meeting, but I'll just mention it as a bit of a huh kind of a thing. Um, see if I can pull the right tabs up. Actually, you know what? I'll skip on the pulling it in. I'll drop some links into the Zoom chat if you want to pull it up on your own screen, you can. But I'll summarize what made me kind of scratch my head, and I is another thing that I kind of missed before. Um, for each one of the World Cup games,
Mm-hmm.
there's planned to be, and I'm sure there will be, 14 trains going from South Station to Foxborough and back again. So 14 trains for each match. It's interesting to me that there's boarding groups for each of the matches, but there's only 5 of them. Actually, I will pull in one of these tabs just to show you. So this is the whoop. Yeah, that's fine actually. I'll just do it this way. I don't know if this is big enough for you to read. Maybe.
A little bit.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the other page, yeah, I just put that link into Zoom, right? Yeah. Yeah. So the most recent link in the Zoom chat is to the main page. So 14 trains for every match, but 5 boarding groups. Okay. So to me that says each boarding group is going to be 3 trains for the first 4 and then 2 trains for the last one. Because that's how you get
Mm-hmm.
14 in the easiest way. If you got,
Mm-hmm.
3, 6, 9, 12,
Mm-hmm.
13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But does that mean that each boarding group then at the station is somehow going to be divided up into different tracks? because it's 14 trains. Presumably, 14 trains are going to be on multiple tracks. I would, right? I
But it's
mean,
14 cars or 14 train sets?
14 train sets.
Really? So they have 14 train sets ready to take off at the same time after the end of the game? Or it's just 14 train sets across all the games
No, it's 14 per
per game?
game.
Is it like
Maybe I'm
seven?
not thinking this
Is it
through well
seven
enough.
in, seven out? Is that the deal, or is it 14 down and 14 back? I mean, I have to say, Stefan, I am just not tracking the World Cup stuff. I know I
Okay.
should. I know I should. But he I know this is sacrilegious, but I think even if it's the Olympics, I'm just not a big sports guy, so there's just like
Yeah.
my brain just kind of like has a hard
Yeah.
time
Oh, that's
going
that's
into anything that's dealing with sports,
oh, that's
and
no, that's okay.
yeah.
I maybe I'm not analyzing it right, and maybe I should go back to some of the previous material. So I'll bail out on this. I really so the only thing that was in my head about this was just thinking about the platform logistics because like I said, I see five boarding groups, whatever that means, and I'm having a hard time understanding like if you're in boarding group A, you've got a specific check-in time at South Station and great estimated arrival time at Foxborough Station. Great. Um, and it's all staggered. I'm just trying to think operationally how does the number of trains plug into the boarding groups? Because in my mind, that is either a level of complexity or it's going to be a level of simplicity if it's well designed. And South Station, I believe South Station has 13 tracks. I don't know. I'll get more information on this. Now I think I'm not making good use of time. So,
I guess my question though, I, I, I guess they're like expecting a lot of people to come to Boston, you know,
yep,
who don't have vehicles and they need to get there,
yep.
and so it's them, yeah. Yeah, I guess so when they run trains to the Patriots games, right? How many
Yep.
train sets do they run down to the Patriots games?
I thought it was only one from Providence and one from Boston.
I say it's just two. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. And for what it's worth, that works really well because each of those two lines comes in on a different end of the Foxborough secondary. In other words, um, I forget which one goes in which direction, but
Right,
because it's one train from Boston, one train from Providence, typically, they basically meet head on at Foxborough. Well, then again, they had to in the past because it was only a single track.
right,
The second track and all that platform improvement, station improvement is being done as we speak. I mean, the target is to have it done by I believe I saw end of
right,
May. Because the first games are June 13. It's
right.
gonna be close. Well, you know what? In case you hadn't seen that, oh yeah, because you said you hadn't been following, which is totally fine. Let me just point out, you don't have to look at the screen closely, but can you see it okay?
Yeah,
This is the official World Cup guide from the MBTA, and I got to give him credit. This is it's really well done because it's giving a whole overview. Like somebody who wants to know about transportation in the World Cup to the World Cup can just go to this one page and oh, MBTA provides subway, bus, train. It's like a summary of like, hey, this is what the MBTA does.
hmm,
Hey, great. Welcome to Boston. How do you want to get to Boston? Oh, it's this far away by highway or, well, distance. Um, there will be train service. Great. You got to have this, got to have this, got to have this. I love this third bullet point. This is the only MBTA service going directly to the stadium. fantastic. Following that up with, there is no MBTA subway or bus service to the stadium. Fantastic. I mean, we all know that. Like anybody who lives, I won't say anyone. I think most people who have heard about MBTA service probably know that. There's no bus and subway that goes that far out. You know, we know that. But I'm really impressed with just the detail, like they're thinking of
Mhm.
they're thinking of everything. 14 trips, fully accessible. Here's what you got to do. Link to the app, boarding groups.
So is 14 trips there and 14 trips back?
Uh, well, as you just mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm gonna have to look that up because it
All right.
says 14 Boston Stadium trains, and then it says we'll run express, no other stops between South Station and the stadium. But it doesn't actually say that that's 7 in, 7 home, or is that 14
Well,
in, 14 home?
do we have to schedule, I mean, for the days of the games? I mean, because that'll
Oh yeah,
tell us. Give us
yeah.
a schedule then.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't think I have that. It's
Yeah.
all focused on the boarding group, A, B, C, D, E, and
So we don't have a sense of schedule. So
yeah, at least not that I have pulled up yet. So I mean, again, that I'm sure that this is very well planned, especially with the game that happened, what was it, a month and a half ago?
yeah, I
Um,
mean, so yeah, so that was like a practice run, right?
oh, it was, yeah.
Was it like a full
Yep.
practice run?
I don't remember how many trains there were. I don't believe. Yeah, I don't remember right now. But you know what? I'll see if I can dig up the actual schedule. It's probably, if it's not publicly on the MBTA website, I bet it's going to be on the one of the uh discussion boards. Um, and like I said at the beginning, it's really just in my mind, I'm just wondering what kind of things are in store for people who are going. Great. Hey, I'm in boarding group C. Okay. I know what time I'm supposed to check in. Okay, I know the predicted arrival time, but when I get to South Station, I'm boarding group C. Like, are there going to be people shepherding me to a specific platform? Is it going to be all the platform? Like, are there going to be 7 trains on 7 platforms and you can just go wherever you want? Like, how is each boarding group going to actually be shepherded onto the rolling stock?
Well, I mean, so I'm looking at one of like the first game, Haiti versus Scotland. So I just see like
Yep.
5 trips going from South Station to Foxborough. So are all the
Well,
trains going to
that
Foxborough just coming out of South Station?
well, yes. Yes,
Okay.
it's only South Station to Foxborough, but again, that's boarding. That's a boarding group.
What's a
There's
boarding group? But it seems like they're each for a train though.
I believe it's got to be multiple train sets, meaning multiple sets of equipment for each boarding group because the numbers wouldn't match up that way. It says
What no?
14 trains total
Yeah, I mean, so I
by
guess I'm
boarding group.
question.
So like I was saying before, that would seem to indicate that it's 3 train sets for the first boarding group and the
Uh,
second one, and you know, so A B C D, each
I
each of those consist of, well, pardon the expression, but each of those consist of 3 consists,
I don't think so.
and then E
I think
is 2 consists.
I think I. Oh, I see what you're getting. So you're thinking hmm,
Yeah,
one leaves at 2:15, one leaves at 2:30, one leaves at 2:45.
leave that
No,
No, that's arrival time for. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game. You're looking at the first game.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
looking at.
Yeah. Well, check-in, presumably the departure would be the end of the check-in. So my
I'm
my
thinking
guess
two.
is boarding group A departure time is 2:45 and they want you there half an hour in advance.
Yeah, I guess that's so. I guess I would even say that departures time probably at 3 o'clock. But
Yeah, I was
yeah, I
thinking
know.
that. Yeah, because the
Yeah,
on the main page it says that the trip time is about an hour.
yeah. Oh,
But it's like, I mean, again, I could be
oh,
making a mountain out of a molehill, but
no, no. I
being
mean,
a kind of a curious operations minded guy, I'm just really interested to know how that logistically is going to work with number of train sets, number of platforms, boarding groups. It's not the the math doesn't all add up perfectly. Like if it was seven boarding groups and it said 14 trains, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to look into it more.
yeah,
Interesting, the boarding group thing might also be a reflection of how many staffers are on hand, as well as an indication of the equipment levels. But again, I'm into I'm into speculating. Really, all I wanted to do was just call it out as a, huh, this is interesting. How does that work? I believe. Oh, geez, we're already up at 6:30. Um, I believe the only other thing that I wanted to call out for right now, for today,
yeah. Well, it seems like all the
is
trains are going to be there. I mean, so return trains will leave the station roughly every 15 minutes until all the trains have departed.
yep.
Yeah, so they could store 14 train sets down there, huh?
Well, not at the station, no.
Where
That's
will they
that's
store them?
um I believe they are going to continue on. This is educated guessing. Okay, so this is not authoritative, but um, I believe that part of the reason why they're not doing any service from Providence,
Yeah,
it only coming from Boston South Station, is so that the trains after they drop off can just continue on forward
yeah,
to continue to the other end of that. Uh,
yeah,
Again, I believe it's called the Foxborough Secondary, because there is no where to store that amount of trains right in line.
right.
So my guess is, again, educated guess, my guess is that they are going to basically fill up the the rest of the line on the far side of the Foxborough station with just trains waiting for the trip home.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
probably as far up as Walpole. Um, ah, damn, I don't remember. Shoot, I don't remember if they go from Boston to Foxborough via Walpole. Hang on, I've got Google right in front of me. It has to do with the track layout on. Oh, nope, nope. Okay, there's the answer. The um, the interchange at the south end in Mansfield only allows southbound Foxborough Secondary to go onto the regular main line going south. So in other words, that answers the question. Because of the track layout at Mansfield, the trains coming from South Station have to go to Walpole and then south to the stadium. And my prediction is that after they drop at the stadium, they're all going to keep going south and then lay over somewhere down in Mansfield, like maybe they would take up a second track south of Mansfield somehow, but that's the main line. That's the Northeast Corridor, so I don't know. I
I
doubt
wonder, yeah.
they'd be clogging up the Northeast Corridor.
I wonder if the tickets, in the boarding groups have more specific times than these time ranges that we see. Because I'm just saying, like, if you had like three trains, I mean, that are
Yep.
leaving between 11:15 and noon, and
Yep.
you're telling people just get there between 11:15 and noon, I mean, you're almost begging, for the last train, to be oversubscribed, for lack of a better word, because people are just like that, right? I mean, they're going to arrive as late as possible. So I'm wondering now, if the boarding group A, have tickets say, look, you have to be here 11:15, and some have tickets that say you have to be here 11, 30, whatever, and some that say you have to be here 11 at noon, you know, uh,
Could be.
and
I mean,
because otherwise, I mean, I just don't see, how you get, you know, how you make sure that you have enough space on that last train.
yeah, I think I see your point.
Yeah.
Your point. But ah, I just did a little Google Earth measurement,
Yeah.
and guess what? The track distance going from Foxborough Stadium Station in the southerly direction, which is what I expect they're going to do for storage. So in other words, all the trains come
Yeah.
south, drop off at the stadium,
Right.
and then just keep on going forward, which is the fastest way
Right.
to do it. It's a little more that my measurement was a little more than 4.5 miles
Yeah.
from Foxborough to the Mansfield Junction. That's 4.5 miles. That is plenty of
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
to have all those
14 train sets.
trains just
Yeah.
park on the track.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
then they
true.
just sit during the game.
Right.
And then the only real uh I won't say difficulty, but the only real risk operationally is if there's any kind of mechanical issue that arises either while they're parked and waiting for the match to finish or in the process of reversing, but still you can double head, as long as you got one working locomotive for two train sets, it'll move. It'll be
Yeah.
slower, but it's also nonstop, which helps a lot. Once you get
Yeah.
going, it's
Right.
not stopping. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I hope they have the real-time data cranked up for all these trains because I really want to be able to watch all these train sets going.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee of that though, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, they'll have real-time data going for all the train sets internally,
Right. Of
but
course.
they
Yeah.
might not publish the data feed for these special trains on the
Yeah.
public end of the API. I don't know.
They probably won't. Everyone's paranoid about these high profile, high volume events. I mean, so I think if I had to bet whether it'll be publicly available, I'd say no. You know, but
I hadn't thought of it that way.
yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah, yeah. Let's hope I'm wrong. Yeah, especially yeah. Let's hope I'm wrong, but I wouldn't plan on it being available.
Yep.
Alrighty, well,
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was the only other. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There is one other thing. Only one other thing that I wanted to bring up about, because I don't know enough, and wish we had Wig and Craig tonight. But I don't know if you caught this. This is from Mass Streets blog. I'll make sure I put the link into the Zoom chat in case you want to pull it up as well. The gist of it is, um, a couple of the Boston City councilors have introduced a proposed amendment to the zoning code to eliminate the off-street parking requirements for new housing. In other words,
yeah,
in order to bring the costs down, they're saying, okay, developers, or the proposal is, okay, developers, instead of requiring that you build
hmm
parking into your your structure, or you build a parking lot.
Right.
Instead of that, all right, less requirement for parking.
Is
Now,
it is it less requirement or no requirement?
um, it says to eliminate minimum.
Okay, so that's no requirement then. If they're
Yeah, you're
eliminating the
right.
minimum, then it's no. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Um,
That's good. Yeah.
and yeah, so how cities' parking rules make housing more expensive, less practical to build, and how they increase traffic and reduce transit ridership by subsidizing. Um, I I I read this and I just thought to myself, really? I
What
mean,
do you mean?
I can see lowering the cost for the housing. Sure. If the developer isn't providing parking or as much parking, sure. The cost for the developer, therefore the cost to buy a condo or rent would be lower. Yeah. But is there really a beneficial impact to public transit just because built the construction is not providing parking? Doesn't that, I mean,
Well, the
maybe,
benefit,
but it,
I think the benefit to public transit is, I think what they're saying is that more people use public transit, and I think they're seeing that as the benefit. I mean, so you have more riders using it. I think that's how they're using it. That's a context for benefit. I mean,
yeah.
you can argue whether that's a benefit or not. Because
I-
if you're spending more, I mean, if the fare recovery ratio is less than 100%, then more
yeah.
volume isn't giving you more money. I mean, but I think from the public policy, public good point of view, the more people on transit, the better. So I
Hmm.
think I think
Yeah.
that's where they're using the word benefit.
Yeah. But by simply not requiring parking at housing, it is, is that a direct cause and effect? Or could it
Uh,
be?
well, well, it in Boston it will be because there's just no place to park.
Yeah.
I think I mean there's permit parking and it's probably all full. And like in places like Arlington, where the off-street parking is kind of minimally enforced. Then people would say, okay, well, you know what? You tell people that there's no this building has no parking. Well, they're
Hmm.
just going to park on the street.
Yes,
And it's
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
right,
that's my
right,
concern. Right.
right. But you see, like in a place like Somerville, where all the permit parking is already taken up.
Okay.
And they really do enforce it. I'm sure that's the case in Boston. It's like there is no place for you to park your car. There's no place for you to park your car. You can try and like rent a parking space, and I think you've heard the
Yep.
stories where some of the rentals for parking spaces are like like $1,000 a month or something like that, like something
Yep.
obnoxious, and so almost by definition now, I mean anyone who rents or buys a unit in these spaces, I mean, are going to be people who don't have cars,
Okay.
and then will be either transit dependent or
Rideshare dependent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TNC dependent. Yeah, yeah, uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
Mm.
I
But
I
see
was
what
thinking
I
of it
like.
really. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
And I know. I think you caught me thinking about it only in terms of municipalities that are not heavily um urbanized. Like that's the wrong expression, but
Well,
like you mentioned Arlington.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
If people don't have, if you can't park in a parking lot or in a parking garage as part of whatever, yeah, you're gonna go hunt for street parking,
yeah,
and it's gonna decrease the amount available for local businesses or whatever, unless there's really strict enforcement. But
right.
I see your point though. In Boston, it's a oh,
Well,
in
good.
Boston and Somerville, is
Yeah.
there a cap on the number of resident parking stickers, permits that are given out for a certain
Household.
zone or a neighborhood?
Well,
That
well, I mean,
that might be the key to it.
the limit is the number of parking spaces available. It's
Right.
not like, yeah,
But does the city parking department only issue parking permits up to a certain amount that is tr connected directly to the amount of on-street parking?
I don't know.
I would kind of hope so, but
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah, you would hope so, but I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Because I think in Arlington, we didn't know how many potential parking spaces, there were in town.
yeah.
But we were just kind of dealing with a town that had no on-street parking overnight. You know,
Yeah.
and so we hadn't really like faced that question, like if we were going to allow on-street parking overnight. I was trying to get us there, and you could use tools now to help you count up those spaces. But I would assume someplace like Somerville and Cambridge and Boston, know how many parking spaces there are, for any given precinct or any given part of town, and they wouldn't sell permits
Hmm.
beyond, that number. But I don't know. That's a good
Hmm.
question. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I noted in this article that uh, the article says Cambridge repealed its requirements for off-street parking in new buildings in 2022, and Somerville did the same at the end of 2024.
Yeah.
So no more per unit parking requirement,
Yeah.
off-street parking requirement. Um, if you happen to ask around people you know in Somerville about how that's been since December 2024, I would love to know. But
Yeah.
but it does I think I agree. It does sound like removing off-street parking requirement for new construction is likely to drive, oh, sorry, play on words not intended. It's likely to push people to public transit, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
I
it
wasn't
will.
thinking it was going to
Yeah.
be that easy
Yeah.
of a, yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, sorry.
I don't even know if the word is like push me, but it will just attract people,
Attract.
who
Yes.
are
Yes.
inclined to use public transit, or I guess these TNCs. But let's see, the other part that I like about removing the parking requirements, is that you just have more space now that you can devote to housing. So
Yes.
that parking space is no longer reserved for cars; it's reserved for housing. And given that cars we don't move 90% of the time, they
Right.
go someplace and then they just sit there. They're just occupying space, that could be used, for housing. And that's why I'm so big, on shared vehicles,
Yeah.
and shared electric vehicles, that become the transit system, and
Yep.
so we'll get there. And it's not like it's like one of these situations where it's like you don't have to be a prognosticator. You can just kind of like see, how like one thing's going to lead to another, and then someone's going to go, you know what? Shared vehicles would solve the problem. Not only like shared vehicles, shared autonomous, and these little tiny things, like these little small electric vehicles. I'm seeing more and
Yeah.
more of them. I think just in my area. The things are so small. It's like they fit in the bike lane. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's
I
just
think I think I've
perfect.
heard them called pods. I think I've heard them
Uh,
called like pod cars.
yeah, it's like, if you're one person, and usually it's just one person in a car. It's like you don't need any more space than that. You could like put a bag of groceries or whatever, in the back seat, and you're good. And when you need a bigger vehicle, then you get a bigger vehicle. But it's a shared bigger vehicle. That
Yep.
you do your thing with your kids or whatever. Yeah, and then you head back, drop you off, and that car like goes on and does what it needs to do.
Yep. I'm with you on that as
Yeah,
long as, and I hate to be cynical or even morbid, but as long as the damn thing isn't so small that there's not a good crumple zone or opportunity for the airbags to inflate around me, you know what I mean?
yes, yeah. Well,
You know,
I hear
and
you.
an eggshell is a great protector of an egg, but only up to a certain point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
I
get
mean,
you. Well, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
No,
Well, you,
yeah, I think yeah, you get the point. Yeah, like
yeah.
eggs are great, robust things, but we still put eggs into a carton to protect them as we're moving around with a lot more velocity and acceleration, deceleration than what was inside the chicken.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, you just put cushions all around something small, and
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
so
Or,
we have
like I said, crumple zones,
yeah,
enough space between you and the shell of the thing that your airbag can give you enough protection. Oh yeah.
right. Well, and well, if they're autonomously connected, I mean, the rate of accidents will go down, a whole lot. And once again, the reason that will happen, is because humans just can't stand the thought of a machine killing another human. Even though we're happy to do it 100 times a day as humans, we won't be able to tolerate it anything like more than 3 times a year. I mean, so be and once they're all be that technology, it'll be easy. The harder part is when it's mixed, so getting there
Yeah.
will be the hardest part, but we just have to have the political will to do it. And at some point that will materialize. I mean, there will be some kind of combination of forces that will just make that the next thing that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
and whether that's 20 years from now, 50 years, 100 years from now, I just don't imagine, I don't imagine 200 years from now people driving cars. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to, maybe that'll happen before I'm dead. I'm trying to live to 120, and by that I just mean like it's wishful thinking. I'm not eating like someone who's going to live to 120. So I'm just saying that, but it's like
It
when
it
I
would be
think about,
nice.
when I think about living, I just like, let's see if we can get 120 years. So maybe it happened by then, because I mean, certainly, you know, uh, as I am now, I mean, I'm in a kind of prolonged period of kind of happiness, because my productivity has gone up. With harkening back to early part of the conversation, and I'm just so
Yep.
happy I've lived to see the day where I am saying, I hope I never write another line of Python code again. And that's just someone who loves programming. Programming hits my pleasure center like nothing else. Like nothing else.
Yep.
Even the big 3-letter word that starts with an S. I get just such repeated pleasure, from programming. And for me to go from, yeah, I love programming, to like, I never want to write a piece of code again, because like the machines are doing it so much faster and allow me to do so much more stuff. Because I don't want like code just to code, although I would, but I'm
Yep.
usually coding with a goal in mind, and this,
Oh, of course.
and my whole point is that I'm so happy I've lived to see this day. I mean, I don't know if I would have predicted it, you know, um, 20 years ago, although the means to predict it were there. I mean, there were people who were working on this stuff 20 years ago, but my head was just in other places, I certainly would have predicted it 40 years ago, even though all the sci-fi stuff was kind of predicting it. But anyways,
Yeah.
here it is. I mean, I'm so happy. Um,
It's the first stage to self-replicating technology.
yeah,
So
yeah,
as long as we're watching out for that, you know, self-replication is good if there's some checks and balances.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Right.
the day that the AI can 3D print the robots that have weapons,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I
I
hear
won't
you,
ever
but
consider that.
yeah, but it's not like us humans are doing a really good job now, are we?
Yeah,
It's,
true.
it's not like we're. It's like, I don't know which would be worse. You know what I mean? Because we're not doing a very good job. So
Yep.
not hear you, but it's more like, well, I mean, because people are like, well, the computer could be wrong. Well, it's like, well, how often is humans are wrong? It's like a lot.
Yeah. With
So
with the notable exception of people at the MBTA who are
yes,
hardly ever wrong and they're wicked
yes,
smart.
yes,
I mean, I'm just saying that
yeah,
to give you a grin at the end of the at the
yeah.
meeting, but
Uh,
yeah.
I'm not hearing.
But
I hear you.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, just work on making things better. I mean, work on making us better. I mean, or us organics better, and work on making the AIs better. I mean, and we'll march forward into the future,
Yep.
because actually we have no choice.
Right.
So the future is going to
Um,
happen, whether we want it to or not. Go ahead.
yep.
Uh,
Um, I think we're out of time for tonight to talk about the Mastodon SPR, but that that should probably be for next time, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep tabs on it. I mean,
Yep.
so this is, I think, for fiscal year 26. Yeah, although it's not clear to me if it's a
Looks like
fiscal
it.
year or a calendar year, but I'm pretty sure it's a fiscal year. I'm trying to get a sense of when these things are reviewed, and when they are released. I mean, I went through like a
Okay.
year's worth of Mascot agendas. I didn't see the much about board agendas. I didn't see any reference to it on
Oh,
the agendas. So I'm not sure if it comes before the board and the board signs off on it. But
oh, interesting.
given, yeah, I mean, so I think I'm just missing something. So because we it's like it's the work. It's kind of like the work plan for Mascot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so it, it I know that there is, I guess there's no like real review of a statewide document. I mean, like the MPO has reviews of its work plans, and to a certain extent, the SPR is kind of like a combination of the UPWs, across the Commonwealth. But I mean, they're all coordinating with each other. And I kind of asked
Hmm.
this question with respect to the MPOs, UPWPs, like to what extent, do you follow, the lead of the mascot? And that's how I discovered this. Because I was trying to understand how the MPO coordinates with mascot. And 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 I'm sure there's a lot of back and forth, but at the same time, you do have this SPR, and even if it is a combination of all the UPWPs from all the MPOs across the Commonwealth, the state,
Yeah.
there still should be some review, evaluation of that document, like a point where there's a draft, and then the final, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to say the draft should be open, for public review, because like I said, I don't know to what extent that ever happens with a statewide document. That said, though, MassDOT does have its CIP. So the more I think about it, MassDOT has its CIP, and that is a statewide document. You know,
Yeah.
so this would kind of fit into that. So I guess I've argued for, yeah, it'd be nice to have the SPR, open for review. And part of the reason I'm going for that is or thinking about that is that we need an autonomous policy in the state, and it can't be one where we're going to look at it, and see where it's headed, and then we'll decide something's like we need to determine what we want that technology to do, because it's coming. And to sit and wait, for it to get here and go, oh, now we're going to develop a policy. Well, chances are it's going to be in a form, that isn't as doesn't really mesh with our values, as well as if we had created the framework for it before it came. And it's always one of these kind of catch-22 situations where if something's not like really in front of your face, and it's like, well, we can't plan for the future because we don't know what the future's gonna do, and so we can't like mandate what the future's gonna do. And then when it's already here, it's like, well, it's too late to plan.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
but for a while, like when I was talking about this 10 years ago, it was like, yeah, it's not, people are gonna say it's gonna be here at the end of the decade. I think that's really premature. And then we got the pandemic, and I didn't want to talk about it during the pandemic because everyone's in survival mode. But I was seeing the pandemic as like, okay, well, it slowed down the momentum on this thing. It gives us a chance to kind of think about some policy stuff, but of course, no one wanted to talk about it. But now it's like, I see a Waymo. I saw a Waymo like going down my grass. And they're mapping out streets in Cambridge and Boston. We hear
Hmm.
about them, on the West Coast a lot. So it's not like it's taking a lot of imagination to see them coming. I mean, so let's try and develop some kind of a policy. Maybe really good if we kind of like said, well, we want them to be in these really small smart vehicles, I mean, that are connected. And we want them, deployed in a way that really increases equity. I mean, and in fact, NVIDIA, I think, is kind of like working on, that kind of transportation policy with its autonomous vehicle initiative. And there may be some initiatives going on in some other countries. And we should be looking at those and deciding like what kind of autonomous vehicle policy do we want? In the region, in the state, and my sense is that there are people at MassDOT who just don't want to think about AVs, and either taking a position against them, and either they just don't like them, or they don't want to change their mind, or there's something else. I don't want to assume Ian's various notions, but I just kind of feel that leadership isn't making this happen, and you say that that's almost a circular statement, right? Because if it's not in the document and leaders control the document, then they're not doing their job with respect to AVs. But I'd like to find out if there's some way, to try to influence what the state kind of looks at. Because they have like a technology section in it where they look at forward, they think about technology, and you can say, well, the AVs kind of fall into that. But I'm thinking it needs to be less vague than that, and so it needs to be like a specific, like AI, not AI, but AV initiative, so, and there actually was an AV working group, back before the pandemic. And they made a lot of progress. They were kind of like studying what AVs were doing. They weren't really working on policy because that wasn't quite their mandate. And I don't know if they actually even like finally wrapped it all up. Like Kate Fichter was working on it, and I think it was kind of falling apart before the pandemic. Like it kind of lost its momentum. And so if it didn't get tied up, the point at which it could have gotten tied up was before the pandemic. But then certainly when the pandemic came out, it was like, that didn't happen. So. But anyways, the SPR is an interesting document unto itself, and it's kind of good to see the research projects that are going on. And there are some that are transit related. So. Yeah. Give it a read. I'll give it a read. I'm looking for the next one though. So as soon as I see the next one, I'll send it along. And at some point I'll find out the right person, to ask at MassDOT and about it.
Wow.
So that was a mouthful.
Again, I am so glad that you bring this stuff to the MBTA Rider Oversight Committee, because it's all intertwined and it's all things we have to watch. But I don't know if you were seeing what I was doing, but in both the SPR work program 1 and 2, the word autonomous does literally not appear even once.
Yes, that is true. That is true. And you know where else it didn't appear even once? It was in the Vision Zero plan released by the MPO. And I said at the meeting, because I was like, I kind of brought up autonomous at the meeting, and I said, look, if you think autonomous, like even if you think autonomous is bad, like particularly if you think they're bad, then you need to refer to it. You need to have it as something that you give some serious thought to in a Vision Zero, document. But once again, the powers that be, there's a version to them, and one person in particular at one MPO meeting, use a pejorative in respect. I think it was like, it's this ridiculous notion of AVs. I kind of wanted to leap down his throat, but it was at the end of the meeting, and I kind of felt, you can know when you're not completely calm. Like sometimes someone will say something and it just kind of like spikes your blood pressure. And you're kind of like, you know what? I'm not quite in control here. I should not escalate the conversation.
Right.
Because
and knowing you, I bet you also had a sense of the other person wasn't probably going to be listening to you. Like I know you well
Yeah,
enough to
yeah,
know
yeah.
that you've got a good sense of when you know that people aren't going to listen
Yeah, you know
anymore.
we're not going to listen. And also, I mean, it's clear too when people start using pejoratives like that. I mean, that it's indicative of intellectual insecurity because they're wanting to shut the conversation down. Either
Yeah.
consciously or unconsciously. That's a shutdown move. And people who are insecure shut down conversations. I mean, when you're secure, you're like you bring on the argument. It's like let's hear the counterpoint. I want to get to the truth of this. I want to explore things. I mean, it's like I have this point of view. I may not be right. I probably am not right. So let's discuss it as opposed to like that's a ridiculous notion. I mean, it's like, okay, well, what do I do with that now? So
Right.
if I promote the motion now, you're essentially saying I'm ridiculous. And so like, well, that doesn't really invite me like truth exploration. It's an anti-intellectual move. Once again, based on insecurity. So when I run into that, it's kind of like I kind of lose respect for the person that's saying it for one
That's
thing.
understandable. Yeah.
And so now it's like, do I want to engage with someone that I'm not really respecting? But then, like I said, my blood pressure goes up. I mean, so at that point, I kind of feel like I'm out of control. And now I'm dealing with someone out of control that I'm not respecting. That's not a good mix. It's just not a
Yeah.
good mix. Because then I'll say something, and I mean, I can say hurtful things, and they can be really subtle. And then I got a mess on my hand because now their feelings are hurt. I feel badly that I did it, and it's like, well, this could have been avoided, but I just kept my mouth shut. So I'm learning more to keep my mouth shut.
Fair enough. Yep.
So,
Yep. I
anyways.
I do I do really like the expression though that and what am I going to do with that? I that expression, yeah. What am I going to do with that?
You call my idea ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
What am I
like,
going to do with that? What?
it's like,
Why? Yeah. Oh man. Very, very well said, man. Very, very good.
I feel like, I didn't call you ridiculous. I just call everything you say ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh God.
All right. Well, yeah. So
Thank
we ended up
thank
talking about
you
this
for
PR. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Thank
actually
you
more.
for everything this evening.
Yeah, same here. I'm actually more
Yep.
awake now than I was when we started.
All right,
So
excellent.
yeah. Well, thank you, and I will be in
Thank
touch
you,
in two
and
weeks.
thanks to Wig.
Yeah.
It's too bad he couldn't stay longer, but
Yeah.
it was time well spent.
Yeah. And I think I'll touch base with I'm sorry
Darren?
Darren. Yeah. Thank you. I was getting McAuliffe.
Hmm.
And see if he wants to come to the May or the June meeting.
That'd be wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else you were thinking about? And for
Oh, yes, but I have not yet reached out to Ryan Caholen to ask
okay,
him
yeah,
who's, or I guess I could just reach out to Keolis directly.
yeah,
I would really love to find out who is the current person in Keolis operations, whichever seat was, whichever role was formerly Mike Rook's,
yeah, right.
because he was. We had absolutely wonderful discussions with Mike, and
So
I'd
he's
like to.
gone.
I believe, yeah. Didn't you say that his email address gave you a bounce back,
He
right?
gave me a bounce. Yeah, I guess it's an indication that it's gone. I mean, it said like either the recipient isn't a the email address no longer works or their mailbox is full. I mean, which is always like, oh, what I do with that?
Oh,
Uh,
jeez. I guess I forgot to Google it before. You know what Mike Rooks is now?
no.
He's the position at the MBTA heading railroad operations, which is just how Ryan Caholen was for us. I guess I forgot to look. Mike Rooks is now Chief Railroad Officer, MBTA. That's the exact position that Ryan Caholen had before Ryan was promoted to Chief Operating Officer.
So he
So
just hit the wrong. Yeah,
that's why Mike Rook's email at Keolis bounced back because he's now working for the T, not for
yeah.
Keolis.
Well, then,
There
so
you
then
go.
I can try that then.
Yeah.
And yeah. So then, or you can try
What
that.
have
I
I
mean,
done?
you have a good working dynamic with Mike, right?
I thought so from all of our discussions. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, how do you feel about reaching out to him?
I will do it.
All right. So do that. Find out if he prefers like May or June, and then we'll ask Darren for the opposite.
Yeah. Well, let's ask Darren for May because I would like to really jump right on that opportunity.
Okay, fine then. All right, that's what I'll do. Then I'll ask Darren, and then Mike can do the opposite.
Fantastic.
And then we have July also, and we're gonna take August off. So before you know it, we'll be in September, and and hopefully you'll survive the summer. So I worry about you in the summertime. Uh, so anyways, all right,
Oh.
because of the heat.
Oh, no, I know. No, I know.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's funny. I had not noticed in the past that Mike Rooks is the president of the New England Railroad Club.
Oh,
He's the head of the organization.
well, oh, well, I think that just topped you on the geek meter, didn't it?
I guess so. I mean,
Yes.
the New England Railroad Club is not so much like a fan organization. It's more of like an actual um what do I want to say? Like social organization for
Oh,
people who
okay.
just yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
more like a well, yeah. It's an organization for people with similar interests. It's not like a ooh, trains are cool. Let's go look at the locomotives go by.
Oh yeah.
But it's more about networking. Yeah, I guess you could call that kind of like networking and yeah.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
anyway, that's great. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that
He's still around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also that he's working for MBTA now,
Yeah.
and he's president of the New England Railroad Club. Holy
Yeah.
cow!
Yeah. So I guess that explains where he is. I mean, but I guess you wanted to find out like who took his role at Keolis. So that question
That is still
that
yes.
is still a question.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. But I guess you could ask him while asking him to come to the meeting, come and talk with us,
Yeah.
about interesting stuff. And then by the way, who's your replacement? Maybe you can bring his replacement along. So
Yep.
yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I
Well,
knocked off my camera.
that's okay.
I'm gonna go and have some food. I'm gonna go to
I'm
bed
going to do the
early
same.
tonight. I'm exhausted.
Thank you very much.
That spike of energy has just kind of started dissipating again. So, all
Gotcha.
right,
All right.
I'll see you.
Thank you very much.